Hello Internet, I'm Richie and welcome to Sounds of Stadia SideQuest, a show where we take a step off the critical path and explore more of what the video game world has to offer. On this week's show, I'm joined by the host of Sounds of Stadia podcast, Mr. Chris.
Hey everyone.
And this week we're going to be discussing EA Play. I've just realised when I was saying that I was doing things with my arms. I don't know why. It's like, yay, get my arms spread out. But first of all, a bit of housekeeping. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon for notifications, which will let you know when new episodes of all our content comes out, such as our Sounds of Stadia podcast, which comes out every single Monday, and our Thursday night live streams. Also, if you want to help support the channel, you can sign up as a YouTube member for as little as 99p, which gives you early access to this very show. Nothing's game chat. You get access to our emojis, access to our special areas of Discord, which you can join in the link in the description below. And you can also use that to write in questions or topic ideas for side quests. And if that's not enough for you, you can make sure you follow us on Twitter at Sounds of Stadia, at CyberChris2077, at RichieC89, and at AdaxisLP. And also, people have been asking for this, Chris, and I can announce right here now, SideQuest is coming to audio platforms.
Yes!
I'm making it happen. At the time of recording, 10 episodes are published. I've got another 12 rendered out, and as I find time, I'm going to upload them and publish them straight away. So keep an eye on your podcast feeds for the new SideQuest feed that's going up, and episodes will be coming as soon as I can get them up.
Fantastic.
So, EA Play Live. EA kept it separate to E3, and as I've been doing a bit of digging, I kind of started to understand a bit why, because I've done some spotlight events. So there's 4 spotlight events. The Future of FPS, which was focused on Battlefield and Apex, which has happened by the time of this recording, but I haven't actually read up on it. So we're not going to go into detail on that. They've got an EA Originals one, which is their indie-focused one, a Madden-specific one, and more EA Sports. And all of this before EA Play Live proper, which is on the 22nd of July.
Which we should point out, Richie, as well, we will be covering it on the channel. So if you're a Stadia fan, you're an EA fan, tune in with us on Thursday, 22nd. I think it's 6 p.m. UK time?
Yes, it's 6 p.m. UK time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, and 1 p.m. Eastern time.
That's it. So youtube.com/Sounds of Stadia. Come along, watch along with us, and see if we get that secret mystery EA game we're still waiting for, Richie, after all these months.
You mean FIFA 2021?
Inevitably,
22.
Yeah. We might get it confirmed.
It'll be 22, won't it? Yeah.
22, yeah. But we may get it confirmed.
Yeah, we might get it confirmed before the day because of that EA Sports on the 20th of July.
Ooh, that is true. That's true. We may hear about more games, but we're going to get into all this anyway. So yeah. Where would you like to start on this topic? EA Play, Stadia, gaming, presentation, not at E3 for some reason.
So before we get into it, I figured I'm going to read directly from EA's website about what the EA Play Live is. So from the website, with all these spotlights, they do list what the spotlights are before this section of the article. You may be wondering what will be left for the main event. The answer, a lot. So despite they've already getting Future of FPS, which is covering Battlefield and Apex, the indie stuff, Madden and the EA Sports titles, they're promising a lot straight off the bat. Diving into the Spotlight series allows for the EA Play Live main show to make games the unwavering focus with new gameplay reveals, a few giveaways and other surprises. Lifelong gamer and WWE superstar Austin Creed will host the event to keep things moving right along. Now obviously we can't tell you everything that will be there on July the 22nd, but we can tell you that this year's EA Play Live will start at the times that I've already told you, with a short pre-show that serves as a recap of sorts before the main show brings the real excitement, focusing on the games that are coming out soon rather than later. Oh, good to know. Coming out soon rather than in the all too distant future. The show is a fast-paced one coming in around 40 minutes and will feature what's next for games like Battlefield. So Battlefield's turning back up again, and Apex Legends. So despite having their own spotlight, they're going to be at the main event, which means that we can't use them in our predictions if we go that way. You'll also see the first gameplay for Lost in Random, featuring explosive dice battles, time freezing tactics, and card collection. We'll have a couple of other games to highlight as well, but for those, you'll just have to wait and see. I like this, what they've told us here. There's quite a lot of information. We know a couple of things to expect. There's a lot to say, but there is a lot more coming. We know how long it's going to be, and they're telling us it's fast-paced, and it's going to be game-focused. All that for me is good.
Yeah, it's setting expectations quite well. I know a few conferences come and go, like last week's, at the time of listening, last week's PlayStation State of Play was incredibly disappointing because people were told what to expect, but even then, it wasn't quite the same. But yeah, they've given a very succinct kind of breakdown of what to expect, and I guess with everything being spread out the days leading up to this, you're going to get a lot of EA content. Anything jump off the page immediately for you?
Well, the fact it's going to get gameplay focused, and if you go to EA's website and look up the information, I'm not going to read them all here for the spotlights. A lot of these seem to be a bit more panel discussions and things, which is why I think we're going to break out in these different games. Yeah. So I'm expecting this to be trailers, gameplay stuff, basically the stuff I want to see as a consumer about a game. And because it's also focusing on this isn't going to be in the distant future, these are stuff I'm expecting. I would give a good bet saying most of the things we'll see at EA Play Live will be launched this year, if not early next year.
Yeah, looking at some of the stuff they're talking about already is pretty much a safe bet, I'd say, with most of that. It's quite clever in a way, the way they are spotlighting a lot of the sports content, because I think a big thing with EA's presentations, if they focus too much on a particular sport, it alienates a lot of the audience, especially gamers out there who aren't interested in football, aren't interested in NFL or racing. Because they cover so many sports, from real life, sports aren't for everyone. So it's again, if you have to spend 20 minutes talking about management mode on this particular game, you're going to lose people.
I'm a fan of FIFA, but I don't really, at this sort of event, I don't want to see a trailer for the new FIFA. I don't think that's going to sell FIFA. What I'd be interested in is more of an in-depth breakdown of this is what we've changed from last year, rather than taking up critical time in a bigger event. So I think the fact that Madden has got its own event and more EA Sports has got a separate event suggests that, okay, we're going to, the nitty gritty stuff that if you're really into these franchises you want to know are going to be out there. Yeah. And then, if there's a trailer for FIFA, there might be a trailer for FIFA. But I don't think there's going to be an in-depth focus on them.
Yeah. So we know the sports games will be there. Probably we know what there is to be said about that. With in a similar scenario, we're not going to spend long talking about the sports games on this show because there's nothing more really to say that we don't already know.
Do you like FIFA? There'll be a new one coming. Do you like Madden? Same.
For me, Battlefield's obviously going to be the tentpole for this year, unless we get a surprise announcement for a new Star Wars title, which I'm massively hoping for. We've got when Jedi Fallen Order was 2019.
I believe so. And there's been rumours have been increased, especially because they didn't bring out any DLC. I think that's helped with the rumours that the next one's soon, further in development than we think. Yeah,
because you've got to imagine the engine's done, the story's done. Like you said, no DLC. Obviously, they did the most recent next-gen port upgrade across. It came to Stadia, which is massive. So I think we're safe to assume that if we do get a sequel, we should be confident in seeing it on the platform. So that's great. And the way, if you recall, Richie, the way they actually announced Battlefront originally, it was just at either the Game Awards or E3. They just literally went to the game director in the audience. And he went, it was so bad.
That was bad. It was meant to be an accidental reveal, but it was like,
we've got a logo for you.
That was Andrea Renee, wasn't it? From What's Good Games, actually, wasn't it?
She was interviewing, But, so hopefully this time they have a little bit more of a teaser. And I think with Star Wars, you can imagine just black screen, absolute silence, and then you hear the lightsaber, the room lights, and then the crowd goes wild, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it has a one more thing moment built into it, doesn't it?
Definitely. It may be too soon for this year, I think. I do.
Yeah, the fact that it's not been announced yet, I think it's too soon for this year. That's why I think it could be a one more thing. You see the lightsaber, and then it's maybe fall 2022.
Yeah. Which leads me to think why they're going so heavy on Battlefield this year, because traditionally, we know from here, they screw themselves over. They brought out Titanfall the same time as Titanfall 2, in a previous year, and it totally cannibalized its own sales because it went up against Call of Duty with 2 of its own shooters. Battlefield this year...
It's what Ubisoft did, actually, back last winter with like Assassin's Creed, Immortals Phoenix Rising, and Watch Dogs all coming out within the same month.
And Watch Dogs lost that fight, in my opinion. No one talks about it anymore. But yeah, in terms of EA, for a change, they don't have a Need for Speed title coming out. They've already announced that there will not be one this year. They've split the team off to work on a different title. Fallen Order 2, possibly. They've already, I think, cleared up that there will be no more Titanfall anytime soon because Apex is taking a lot of response time, as is probably the Battlefront sequel. The Jedi Fallen Order sequel.
We know for a fact Apex is going to be there, which suggests that the team's busy working on probably the new season for Apex. And I should shout out as well. I did reach out to Tom for some predictions, and the first thing he did come up with was Fallen Order 2. Fallen Order 2 was the after he swore at me and go, I need to get some sleep because we're recording this quite late at night. He said his main prediction was Fallen Order 2, but then he's like the usual sports titles. He said he wasn't expecting Mass Effect anytime soon. He also mentioned Knockout City updates, which all that I actually think is a really good shout from Tom. Don't tell him I said that.
I think Knockout City, if you've not been aware, it's essentially Dodgeball meets... I'm trying to think what it would meets Apex, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, I haven't looked in too much into it, but it's
Dodgeball on steroids, essentially.
It's like a hero arena shooter thing, but instead of guns, you're playing dodgeball.
Yeah. So Overwatch meets Dodgeball, maybe.
It's that kind of style. I think it's third person rather than first person, but
And early things I'm hearing about that, it seems like it's really, really fun. So I think they're probably hoping for another like kind of breakout Apex Rocket League kind of scenario on the hands of this one. But we'll see. I guess in terms of other IP that EA could bring to the table, we know we had the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We know they're working on another game.
And we know they need to fix that game.
You said that before. I think it's too early for this. I think they've took the feedback from Legendary on board, and I think they know what they want to do going forward. But I think it's way too soon to have anything in the pipeline for Mass Effect.
I think it was 2017 that Andromeda came out. So I don't think it would be weird for them to announce a Mass Effect 4, but again, in the same way, I think like with Jedi Fallen Order, it has like a one more thing written all over it where it's just a tease. Yes, we are a confirmation that we're working on this rather than...
Yeah, it's interesting when you go through the game catalogue, because a lot of these games usually come out in like the same sequence, but because they're now taking breaks with some of them, it is going to break the catalogue up a little bit better than tradition. I mean, we look at the Codemasters acquisition that just happened as well. They now own the Formula One franchise, the Dirt Rally franchise, and they've both had games out in the last... Well, actually, at the time of recording, the new Formula One game is due to come out in a week.
Yes.
So that's Codemasters' main title for this year. Dirt 5 already came out a few months, end of last year, and then it came to Stadia a little bit earlier in the year. So both Codemasters' big IP are done for probably another year, I would say. So I don't think we'll hear anything from Codemasters, other than maybe some DLC drops or something.
Yeah, F1 2021 is due for release on the 16th of July, which is... Actually, it doesn't fit into any of the Spotlight events, and it's before the main EA Live Live. So I wouldn't expect there might be a short trailer with an out now there. That's one of the things I think that might be a good shout, because they're saying it's a fast-paced event, and sometimes having them little things in between the bigger ones can keep the pacing up.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Like here's some new cars in Dirt 5, or F1's got some new tracks or something. You never know. And they have a trailer. They have a trailer already created. So how hard is it to just put a 30-second trailer in there? Done. Yeah, definitely. A franchise we always, I kind of think, go back to as a joke for Stadia ideally is The Sims. You were telling me pre-show that The Sims 4 we're up to now, Sims 4, is currently a 2013 release, and it's just basically living off... 2014, and it's basically living off expansions and kind of like just added purchasing content.
But crucially, it is living. The expansion pass, the Sims is weird with the DLC because there's expansion passes, there's game packs, and there's stuff packs. So they've got basically 3 types of DLC. So I'm guessing the expansion packs seem to be the bigger ones. This way you get a new map, a lot of more stuff. Game packs tend to be, I think, a bit smaller, but like quite focused. Like one of them was actually Star Wars Journey to Batuu. So it's a Star Wars themed extension.
Yeah,
and stuff packs just seems to be, here's some more tables. So the newest one is actually releasing on July the 22nd, interestingly the same day as EA Play Live, and it's called Cottage Living.
Yeah, there'll probably be a breakout.
And it's got a bit of a countryside theme to it. But they've in June they brought out a game pack called Dream Home Decorator, which adds new interior decorate activity, career, and several new types of furniture. So the game packs are like you're adding more game. The stuff packs is adding more stuff, and the expansion packs is just adding more. Yeah. It
sounds like they're just going to keep going with this game then for the foreseeable. Like, again, The Sims has never been like a graphical powerhouse anyway, so it obviously makes the money.
Based on the 2014 initial release, I would have predicted The Sims to be here if it wasn't for I actually am predicting it's going to be here because Cottage Living comes out the same day. So it seems odd to have this event and not mention it, but I would have thought The Sims 5 could have been here if it wasn't for the fact that they are on a regular basis still bringing out content for the game. I mean, maybe Sims 4 is just it. Maybe at some point it's just The Sims.
Yeah, I mean, no one calls it Sims 4, do they really?
No.
So what else is really left? We know they mentioned Skate 4 in like a teaser last summer.
Yes.
I don't think that's still ready because I'm pretty sure when they announced Skate 4, it was a case of they're just announcing they're about to start to build the team.
Yeah,
and
they did.
Two people backed in there from the original crew.
Yeah, that's
and they
correct.
had like nothing to show. It was just the 2 blokes stood there going, "We're making Skate." So I think a year from then, I still don't think they'll be anywhere near finished. So might give us an update.
Yeah, I can't see that coming. I could maybe potentially see a port of Skate 3 up to new gen as a as if it depends. It depends. Yeah, I think it's one of them. It depends on the timelines. If it's going to be like a 2024 release or something, a port of Skate 3 can help probably potentially fund that. And it probably won't be handled by the new studio, the revived studio for it, but it could be handled by just a port studio if it's just a remaster. Like similar to what they've done with Mass Effect. Like, we're going to bring back, here's the Mass Effect trilogy. You've been asking for it for years while we work on the next Mass Effect game.
Right.
I could see something like that happening.
Yeah, I agree. So to get to the kind of elephant rumoured in the room then, I guess, the revival of this franchise that's been rumoured, it's been going around. We covered it on the podcast, can you remember?
I'm drawing a blank here.
Dead Space.
The Star Wars Battlefront 3, it's a potential.
I think they're going to leave that where it is. I mean, I hope so. I love Battlefront. I was thinking the Dead Space revival.
Oh, Dead Space. I completely missed that when I was building the show.
I was going to say, I'm looking at the list and I'm like, we covered it on last week's podcast.
I spaced out on that one.
Dead Space.
Yeah, Dead Space on that one.
We theorised last week. I mean, it's heavily rumoured, so I think it's pretty confident going to be that. Unless they come out of nowhere with some like crazy game that we've never seen in ages.
Well, I would the thing is, in these sort of episodes, we can only talk about franchises that we know already exist. Like, going into the Ubisoft Forward, we had no way of predicting like an Avatar game.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knew about the Avatar game, they just thought it was dead.
Yeah, but that's the sort of thing where this is not established franchise in the video game world, so if we didn't already know about it, there'd be no way we could predict it.
Yeah. So we said on the podcast, Dead Space, I think I'm more in the house that I would prefer a legendary edition of the 3, like similar to Mass Effect, to have a chance to play through the original 3 and then launch with another title in maybe another year's time if it's received really well. I think that would be a safe card bet, similar to how what we're going on Mass Effect.
I like that. I think that works if it's a continuous story, or if they're going to reboot the franchise, then maybe just focus on a new game. That's why I think the next Mass Effect game is actually going to be a Mass Effect 4 rather than like an Andromeda 2.
Yeah.
So they've they brought the original 3 back up to modern consoles for people who haven't played them, so they can replay them. I think that's where you go with Dead Space if you plan to continue it to a Dead Space 4.
Yeah, Andromeda's just going to be the spin-off that nobody really cares about that much. Yeah, I think Dead Space Legendary Edition. I think if EA go with this branding of Legendary Edition, it's quite a clever way of getting people who thought, oh, Mass Effect Legendary, that was really well received. Dead Space Legendary, you kind of know what it is before you even really look too much into it. And as someone who's never really played them, similar to Mass Effect, getting a whole trilogy in one complete package is I much prefer that. It's a great way to kind of get you in the door with that world, that story. And again, very well revered, so I look forward to it.
I think Dead Space is one of them. Plus, I think 1 and 2 especially were really quite well revered. I think 3 went the ways. It's too actiony. It's meant to be survival horror. It had weird microtransactions built into it. It wasn't that well received, from what I understand. As someone who isn't a fan of the franchise, I think a Legendary Edition trilogy or a Dead Space 4, I think either would go down well.
Yeah, it's interesting how, because like Resident Evil's it's kind of like rejuvenated this horror franchise, and I think EA are looking at this thinking there's a big slice of the market we currently don't have an IP covering, and then they've got Dead Space sat there dead.
I think a lot of it comes down to the expectations, where the survival horror for a while in was it the late 90s, early 2000s was a huge pillar of gaming, but then it settled down into its niche, and that's where I think like Resident Evil, the sales probably dropped off a bit, so they try to push it more action. And same with Dead Space, whereas actually if you understand what the niche is and sell into that niche, you can maybe the title's a bit smaller, but you look at Village. Village isn't a huge game, but it was really well received. No. Resident Evil 7,
it wasn't,
same.
It wasn't all that scary, Village, in comparison. But I think now you and me have played through Resident Evil, Village, and Biohazard.
Yeah.
I'm way more open now to playing horror survival games than I ever have been. Yeah. So give me a trilogy of some well-revered games from a few years back, and I'm like up-res them, all that kind of stuff, and I'm totally down to play them. So I hope that is the big game. There's only really, other than new IP that we have no idea of, there's only, I guess, Dragon Age that we know about, right?
Yeah, I was going to get into Dragon Age. So it's been a while. I think Dragon Age hit a few. I mean, in December 2020, I think one of the heads of BioWare resigned. So I think it's hit a bit of rockiness there.
Right.
But Dragon Age,
I had a teaser, right?
It was first announced in the Game Awards in December 2018.
Right.
So we're getting on for, it's 2.5 years since that. So I do feel it's time to see a bit more about the game, and this thing, put a date on it, when's it coming, because we don't have a release date. And we also know that since Anthem's been put to bed, a lot of the team working on Anthem is being moved over to working on Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
Yeah.
And I think Dragon Age is going to be the next big one for BioWare, and then it'll be Mass Effect after that.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
all in all,
I don't know what to expect from Dragon Age, but I think it's time to see some gameplay and stick a date on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. It's going to come out September the 14th, 2021, but it could be a 2021 release. Just say coming 2022 or something like that.
Yeah, even just a season, fall, summer, winter, something like that.
And then you do your big push at E3 next year, or maybe at the Game Awards later in the year.
Yeah, and all in all, I think now that's kind of the games. The part I wanted to make a point of bringing up in the show was the relationship with Stadia, and I think we've theorized on the podcast a little bit. EA kind of, in my opinion, following in Ubisoft's footsteps a little bit. How I do genuinely think EA Play and their partnership with Game Pass. Yeah. They're clearly open to doing business deals, and I wouldn't be surprised from a Stadia fan if in the not so near future we have an EA Play proposition similar to Ubisoft Plus available not only on Stadia but everywhere, where you will get all of these games in the cloud to just sign up to a subscription model. I mean, EA Play is that subscription model, but I feel like they will widen their horizons. As a business like EA, you've got to be looking at moves like that and thinking, how can we get this in these sports games in more people's hands, especially? And I think FIFA in the cloud with no £400 games console buy-in is only going to benefit EA more. So
we've been saying it for almost 2 years at this point. We have friends who only play FIFA That's they occasionally dabble in the other, maybe in Assassin's Creed here or there, but when it comes to console gaming, it's basically FIFA. So to them, Stadia, like I think it needs like a Resident Evil style partnership. Get the new FIFA, you get your Premier Edition, and you're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did with Cyberpunk. I do think FIFA is one of them that could be big for Stadia. Although EA Sports sort the multiplayer out. It's garbage at the moment.
Yeah,
but that aside, yeah. I'm sorry. Every time we talk about FIFA, I am going to complain about that until they eventually put a good multiplayer in a game which is very multiplayer.
Yeah. So I guess, Richie, there's loads of... we won't be able to pick out new IP. We've got the EA Originals, that Lost in Random game. I think we actually covered it on one of the award shows or something last year, and we really enjoyed it. It was like the claymation. Looked like James and the Giant Peach, and there was like a sidekick character who was a dice or a die.
Yeah.
And it looked like Little Nightmares mixed with James and the Giant Peach. Looked really, really cool. And I think you, me, and Tom both really, really liked the look of it. I can't remember what event it might have been.
I can't.
But all in all, though, in terms of like what Stadia can bring to EA and what games we'll see, I think you and me and Tom as well are probably both quite quietly confident the fifth game of that agreed 5-deal arrangement was going to be. It looks like
FIFA. It looks like FIFA.
It looks like Madden and FIFA the next two.
The thing is, we have been fixated on this 5-game deal. We don't even know if that's in play anymore. That was in play at the time it was told, but that's well over a year ago at this point.
Yeah.
So deals can be renegotiated. Maybe they've moved away from that 5-game deal, and in Stadia's record, don't tell anyone, despite the fact people pick up on stuff like that and do talk about it. Yeah. So that's my hope anyway.
Yeah, it's very odd in hindsight that he put a number on it, a 5-game deal. Why not just say we've done a deal with EA to bring future games to the platform?
Yeah, that's it. It's because it was so specific. Because that he said 5. Why are you saying that? But as we've done a whole side quest on that topic anyway, so I'm not going to get into it. But either way, I do think if Madden and FIFA were 4 and 5, that's bullshit. Don't do that.
It's just iterations of the same thing.
Yeah, I count that as 3 games. Yeah,
is a whole new game. But this is where, again, things should be renegotiated. I would love to think EA and Stadia or Google have had these conversations about saying, look, you do EA Play, we do this cloud platform. We know that when they closed the first-party studios, they made a point of saying it's going to allow us to make better business deals. We're going to give Stadia out to businesses. Yeah. EA is one of the biggest businesses on the planet. Going to them and saying, if you want to leverage our cloud system for your games, your titles, you get a bigger slice of the pie because you don't have to go through the middleman that is consoles and printing discs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have it in the cloud. It's millions more devices. Now they've added televisions and the Chromecast to it. That's millions and millions more devices. You've got to imagine EA look at that and think, actually, you know what? Yeah. Battlefield on the phone, FIFA on your phone, Need for Speed on your phone. This could work. This could work.
Yeah. And it's also the ability. Sometimes it's the ability to change screens. So you might be playing on your TV. Then the kids want to play something, so you just pick up your phone, stick it in your Kishi or on the claw or whatever, and then you can continue at your leisure while your kids are watching Ben 10 or something.
Yeah, honestly, I played more FIFA on my phone using Stadia and the Razer Kishi than I've played in the last several years.
I played quite a lot of Ace on my phone actually, just lying on the couch.
Yeah, it's just a glorified Switch but for AAA games. So I guess we'll find out on the 22nd. There's not really much more to speculate. I don't think we're going to do predictions with it just being the two of us.
No. I think there's a couple of things that also could be. We could potentially see a revival of SimCity because that is actually still in the EA's top 10 selling franchises.
Wow.
And I think that again, I think that's been dead since like 2013, 2014. Plants vs Zombies could be due for another release. Burnout Paradise, the Burnout series could be. So it could be something in there.
That's why we think of maybe acquired Codemasters to rejuvenate the Burnout franchise because we did get that little remake 2 years ago now. Command & Conquer is getting a remaster. The original 1 and 2, I think, are getting remade. I've seen the site put up a couple of like kind of images of how the work's progressing. But again, I don't think they dabble in PC as much as they used to. It's very much just all in console.
This is, I think, the advantage of Stadia as well. I mean, we've talked about that to death, the fact that you can play mouse and keyboard, which is why games like The Sims could do really well on Stadia. Not just Stadia, and things like xCloud.
Yeah.
Like GeForce Now, like these are platforms where that you can play with controller or mouse and keyboard, where like things like The Sims, like Command and Conquer, stuff like that can do really quite well.
Yeah, and EA do have a wonderful library of more what I would refer to as casual games. Like you just drop in, play a few hours, bounce out, can go weeks and weeks without touching them again, and then just come back.
I mean, they have a whole mobile gaming division. It's like EA are huge. The ones I've kind of pulled together for this show are largely the biggest, most top selling console franchises.
Yeah. Well, they own, is it PopCap? They own?
Yeah, they own PopCap.
Oh, that's where they got Plants vs. Zombies from, yeah. So the Bejeweled, PopCap, all that kind of stuff. That's crazy.
Right. Have you got anything else you want to bring up?
No, just if you wanna tune in, watch along with us, get our Stadia takes. Hopefully we get some news. Tune in. 6 p.m.
6 p.m. British Standard Time on the July the 22nd. We'll probably go live a little bit before, maybe 10-15 minutes before. Keep an eye on all the socials and whatnot for news on that when we have it. But with that, that's all we have time for you this week. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon for notifications. Check out other shows such as the Sound Stadia podcast, our Thursday night live streams where we've been playing quite a bit of Rainbow Six Siege. Join our Discord, which actually our Discord has started playing Rainbow Six Siege amongst themselves, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, we've added a new channel in, haven't we? So if you're out there and you're playing any of these games, FIFA, and any multiplayer game that you think I can't find people to play along with, jump into our Discord, head to the Play Game channel, and just hit up people and say, I'm playing FIFA tonight. Do you fancy a match?
Yeah. And
go from there. We're trying to get a little tiny community within Stadia there where people are up for playing games, so check that out.
Yeah, and while you're in the Discord, if you have questions you want to ask on either the SideQuest or the podcast, depending what they are, we'll try and work them into one of our shows. You can also, in our Discord, write to us what you want us to talk about, because we do want to cover topics that you're interested in, after all. Don't forget, I am rolling out SideQuest to audio in an audio format. So 10 episodes at the time of recording are already live on various podcasting platforms. I'm still getting email and notifications as they're getting pushed everywhere. So if it's not on your preferred platform, it will be soon. And with that, I've been Richie.
I've been Chris.
Thank you very much for watching. Quest completed.